to Be With Podcast, where we're turning hustle into legacies with Dr. Stance. Welcome back to Turning Hustle into Legacy with your girl, Dr. Stance, where we don't just grind, we grow. We don't just hustle, we build legacy. So today was a good day. I kind of was just wanting to talk about one of the biggest threats, I think, to elevation, distractions. And I think we're all faced with that on a daily basis, literally, right? So I'll say this. If you have a vision, a talent, resources, a discernment, favor, but if your focus is kind of scattered, your future will be too. Like you won't be able to see your future, like a clear vision of it. It'll be just scattered. So that's why accomplishments don't get accomplished, or dreams don't get fulfilled, right? So some distractions could be loud. You know what I mean? Some could be soft. Some can even be disguised in opportunities, as an opportunity. And the wild part, some even look like blessings, but they actually blockers. So today I just want to kind of get in the spiritual clutter, the mental clutter, the emotional noise, so you can finally move in your purpose with clarity. So this is a positive meeting. So before I wanted to start a prayer. So let's center ourselves, right? So Lord, today we ask for divine clarity. Remove all distractions, internal and external, that tries to pull us away from the assignment you placed in my life, Open our minds so we can recognize what's happening and what's helping us and what's hindering us. Strengthen our discipline, sharpen our focus, and protect our purpose. Amen. I just had to throw that quick prayer in there just to help everybody, because Mondays for me, or I call them Blue Mondays. My granny used to call them that, Blue Mondays, because Mondays is where everybody been chilling since Friday for 3 days and everything's just piled on you on a Monday, right? So a bunch of distractions are always thrown at me on a Monday. But I'll say this. Distractions aren't always bad things, though, right? Sometimes distractions are good things, but at the wrong time. So a distraction is like anything pulling you away from what you prayed for. So let me say something like this. So a distraction is anything pulling you away from what you prayed for, meaning you asked God for peace, but you keep entertaining chaos. What else? You ask for elevation, but you keep going back to old environments. You ask for discipline, but you kind of let your emotions drive your decisions. And I struggle with that a lot, right? So it comes in 3 forms. I'll say people can be distractions. Your thoughts can be distractions. And internal habits can be distractions. So sometimes the devil doesn't destroy you. He just distracts you long enough that you destroy yourself. Okay, so the enemy doesn't need to block your blessings if he can break your focus. Let me repeat that. The enemy does not need to block your blessings if he can break your focus. So people who don't match your pace, everybody can't go with you. We all know that. Some people love you, but they can't grow with you. And that's okay. So to me, I kind of lay out some signs, if they drain my energy, if they pull you into drama, always got some shit going on. They always need but never pour back. The needy people with their hand out. They don't respect your boundaries. They want access, but they don't take accountability. So sometimes elevation requires separation. And that's not a bad thing because you can always go back to the people. You know what I mean? You can always go back to the thoughts, or the internal habit distractions. And I say go back, meaning like family. Your family can be a distraction because sometimes they always say blood be thicker than water, but sometimes that water be thicker than blood. You just put a little cornstarch to thicken that shit up, okay? I'm just saying, a lot of people would say they got family or friends that's family. I can vouch for that. Same here. So sometimes you can go back and change those distractions that come in the form of 3: people, thought, and internal habits. Your thoughts. I could say this. I'm a serial entrepreneur. One day I might wake up and be like, whoa, light came on. I want to open a business. But I have 5 other businesses going on. Okay, that can be my thought just running a mile a minute, and it could be distracting me from something that out of those 5 businesses can be great, great. Okay, and that one business I'm thinking about, that may just be a distraction to keep me from that, right? So it's up to you to kind of decide and pick out which distraction could be killing your purpose. So for me, I stay away from the people that can't grow with me because they drain your energy, they pull your ass back into drama. Okay, they don't respect boundaries and they won't take accountability. So, like I said, elevation requires separation. So, you're not waiting on God, God is waiting on you. So, sometimes distractions can be overthinking, fear, procrastination. The biggest distraction in the version of you that keeps doubting yourself, and overthinking kills more dreams than failing. It just does. Overthinking kills way more dreams than failing ever will. And I am definitely one to say I am an overthinker. I really am. And that stems from lack of faith and fear. That comes from fear. So fear is definitely a distraction. Procrastination is a distraction. And doubting your gift is a distraction. I have quite a few friends that are so talented, so gifted, but they so distracted and they procrastinate, and it's because of fear. Shout out to my girls if they know who I'm talking to. It's fear. We have that conversation all the time. It will put you in a space to procrastinate and to doubt yourself when you know damn well you gifted in certain things. That's like a lot of singers, a lot of rappers. It's so many unseen talents. It's because they doubt themselves. So sometimes your purpose is louder than your fear. You just got to listen, baby. You got to listen to your purpose. So I'm not trying to preach because somebody told me you just sound like a preacher. I ain't no motherfucking preacher. I'm a doctor. Put some respect on it. I'm just saying. Okay. But I'm just saying. I'm a philosopher in psychology. Okay, on how the brain works. And so in my mind, and I'm infamous of saying in my mind, okay, signs that normally distract me. Let's talk about social media. Chaos, noise. I'm addicted to Bad Girls Club. Shout out to DTB. I don't give a fuck. Okay, it's drama. Hey, listen, that's what sells. Natalie Lunn, shout out. Okay, DTB, she coming on my show, so I'm excited about that. We're going to talk to Miss DTB. But chaos, social media, reality, you know what I mean? Anything close to real life, lived experiences is what we kind of flock to as a distraction, a digital distraction. It's like we're living in a world where scrolling has replaced strategy. That's just what it is. We always checking our phone. Let's say this, we'll check our phone before we check our goals. But some of us checking our phone to check our goals. Because listen, I live by a calendar, so I can vouch for that. Okay? Sometimes you consume more than you create. I stay creating. That's why I'm an overthinker. Okay? I create too much. I'm impulsive. So it could be a downfall too. You compare your journey to others. That's the number one thing that'll have you failing in fucking life. I gotta take a sip of my wine. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, because at the end of the day, you can't be in where everybody else at. Okay? And another one, you cannot sit in silence without stimulation. Your phone is a tool. It's not a trap. So let's talk about strategy. Let's talk about discipline. Let's talk about a legacy behavior. And one of them definitely has been a serial entrepreneur. But one thing a serial entrepreneur, even an entrepreneur, has to do is you got to protect your space. You got to protect your space. Your environment shapes your energy. Clean your space. Clean your mind. Protect your time. Stop giving full access to people who deserve limited access. I'm telling you, I stays in the house because a lot of people don't even deserve my energy because, listen, I'm an empath. I could feel any and everything. I know when you're being funny, bitch. Okay. I know when you on some weird shit. I have the discernment. God bless me with that. So listen, protect your time. And most important, your environment. It shape your energy. So always keep that space in your mind clean. Always. You know? And set some boundaries. You ain't got to answer every call, especially if it ain't about no paper. Okay? Silence your notifications. Schedule a purpose. How about that? Put some time on the calendar to focus. And then you got to rest. I think I was talking about that last week. Don't feel guilty for resting. It's intentional. It's a must. So protect your mind. You can't elevate with a mind full of old conversations. Ooh, jot that note. You cannot elevate your mind full of old ass conversations. So some of the things that I try to do again to like clear is I do a prayer in the morning. I got my quiet time where I play my music, I zone out, I clean my house, I go do a spa, and I stop saying no to guilt. I just stop saying no. No, I'm protecting my vision. You guys protect your vision. Stop announcing things too early. I take note from me, told 150,000 people I'm getting married, then cancel the shit, and I got to go back and tell everybody I didn't cancel the goddamn wedding. And 100, not everybody is rooting for you. So protect your vision. And just so you know, a legacy requires privacy. Everybody ain't got to know your next move. Because let me tell you something, seeds grow when? They grow underground. Seeds can't grow above the water. It can't grow above the water. It grows under that dirt, right? So your legacy requires privacy. I love that, and so that's how you turn your focus into a legacy. When you eliminate distractions, your purpose becomes louder. You'll be able to see clear. You know where you're going. So I focus on, I call them mind unlocks, new ideas, new visions, higher discipline. Husband tell me that all the time with the money. Stop spending so much money. He right. I said, baby, I got an image to uphold, Nikki. Nah, but he right though. he always say, I want to kill Louis Vuitton and all them. Because at the end it kills Chanel. And I don't blame him. Facts. All that shit's material shit. So have higher discipline with the certain things that you struggle with. Mine is shopping. Let's just be clear. Okay? You're going to have a clear direction. And most important, all of those things, guess what? Make you more confident and you make better decisions. When you focus on mind unlocks is what I call them. You want to eliminate distractions so your purpose becomes louder. And guess what? Eventually, that's what we call a legacy, baby. You'll for sure be creating your next legacy. I believe in you. Facts. I tell everybody that a true leader is a motherfucking boss that don't mind putting other positions out there for people to lead. I ain't got to lead everything to still feel like a boss. You know what I'm saying? So listen, every legacy builder has this one skill. They know how to lock in. I'm a visionary. You got to be a visionary. You cannot build legacy with distracted ass energy, right? So y'all know I'm going to close this out. I'll be trying to do a little quick 15 minutes of little words of affirmation, show some love, start saying a prayer, which I want to end this on. So let's bow our heads, y'all, and let's say a quick prayer. Lord, thank you for the clarity you brought today. Help us protect our minds, our time, our energy, and our purpose. Remove every distraction, especially the ones we've grown comfortable with. Replace it with discipline, focus, peace, and divine alignment. Guide our steps as we turn hustle into legacy. Let's go. So I just want y'all to know, if you like this freaking podcast, which I hope you do, and you liking my episodes, bullet point the notes. You know what I'm saying? My infamous one is just, make sure when you eliminate them distractions, your purpose becomes louder. It's going to come louder. And you cannot elevate with a mind full of old conversations, y'all. So I'm going to end that. So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Love y'all. Peace. This is your host, Dr. Stance. Thanks for listening to Be With Podcast, where we're turning hustle into legacy. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.